Research between Europe and India is of great importance. I think this platform has demonstrated that. Past research cooperation, especially as funded by the EU, has demonstrated that. But I think many of us will also have personal experiences of how important that is. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce Professor Malhotra, who is the CEO of ICSSR, who will say a few words.
I would like to highlight the significance of social sciences and humanities research for addressing issues around people-centric development. India is one of the fastest growing economies in the world, with a population of more than 1.2 billion people. India believes in the strength of partnership and understands the imperative to work together with European countries.
It's an amazing personal experience that I would like to share while I'm here now, is that having now been that short time in India, we really do share we have the same problems. The societal challenges we face are really the same in India than in Europe, except, of course, the size. And so we have a lot to share, we have a lot to learn.
Of course, cooperation with strategic partners as India is important, and I strongly encourage Indian participants to all of the actions that they will be published under that future call.
So in terms of the building stronger strategic relationships, I can't emphasize strongly enough how important it has been and what a pleasure it has been to get to know other funding organizations, actually building personal relationships, actually starting to have a sense, okay, actually their processes are not so dissimilar, maybe we can work around this, and also understanding each other's, where there can be misunderstandings because of different use of language and things like that. These are fundamentally important and need time to understand.
We developed a mobile app which will detect your position using satellite navigation and will tell you points of historical interest that are in your neighborhood. And it will pull up old photographs from the British Library's digital archives and will show you a photograph of that place 100 years ago. And so it involved research because you had to stand in a particular place and know that this place is the place in the older photograph of 100 years ago, which is often not well documented. It just says a photograph of Calcutta from 1900. It doesn't tell you where it is. So my researchers had to go out and find it.
So establishment of a network on aging and demography and social policy, exchange of information and expertise on population aging and migration in a globalized context, intergenerational care, and advocating for a more participatory approach to healthy aging, pooling together data sets, pooling together case studies. What we aimed to create was joint articles and proposals for further collaboration.
We supported NISD. NISD is the autonomous body of the nodal ministry which takes care of aging in India. It's called National Institute of Social Defense. And it is actually in a defunct state. So we thought that why shouldn't future aging, so why shouldn't we try to build that institution which can do capacity building, research, advocacy, extended and technical arm of the government. And actually the government is enacting many of the things on those things.
I think if I was only going to give one piece of advice is for a researcher in India or in Sweden or somewhere else in Europe would be to look into your specific field of research and see what can I sort of gain from, or what would sort of encourage or develop my field.
And I think the intriguing thing with the very contemporary scientific world is that we have like the technology that gives us a lot more possibility for open access, of sharing the knowledge, of preserving the archives, of kind of like doing and tackling with the old questions with a kind of different approach.
I think India is just amazing in terms of what you can actually do if you find the right set of ears and the right way of presenting your work, and the way it's politically relevant, the way it's socially and economically relevant for the policymaker. So with that in mind, it's really important to think about who your partner should be and why. You need them to be able to navigate the shark-infested waters of of getting approvals for a whole range of things, for being able to enter into the portals of power, not as supplicants, but as knowledge providers who have something really relevant to say to the policymaker. You need to be able to deal with the chaotic nature of subcontractors who might do your surveys, who might pull together materials. There is a lot of wishy-washy stuff that goes on. So there are a whole range of things where it really is best to go with your eyes open. But it's really important to think about who you're going to pair with, and think about it in terms of not a one-night stand, but something that really will be sustained over a long period of time, because that's when the real dividends start coming in.
So I think now we can call today to a close. Thank you very much for attending, and thank you very much for answering all of these questions.
And we would like to thank Tony for marvelous, the coordinated panel. Thank you.